Okay. Okay. All right. Well, I guess we're on there.
Let's get Goodwin some backstory.
Let's get dicey. All right. How do you wish to proceed? I know how I do it, but
Um, I guess I would like to roll to see what our environment is.
oh shit. All right. So we roll on the terrain table. So where does Goodwin find himself? 83 is small, and 54 is misfortune.
Small misfortune. All right. Um, well, I I think Goodwin has been playing some kind of game
Mhm.
in a
Okay.
tavern
Okay.
and has lost a sizable amount of money.
Oh, that sounds right. That sounds right. Hmm. I think there actually might be a table for tavern descriptions, is there? No. There's undead descriptors. Well, let's see here. Scavenging beasts. Is there anything that gives us? You know what? I am going to roll in this moment. Small misfortune. See, and this is what's so amazing. It's the mythic system is amazing anyway. But what's so amazing is any time that I've done this with someone else, the different interpretations that different people come up with. Because the first thing that came to my mind, and this is partially my own weakness isn't the right word, but this is like my malfunction, is that I think too big in terms of like a story element. Not necessarily that it has to be world shattering, but when I saw Small and Misfortune, I thought he was in a prop plane that was falling out of it was essentially like losing altitude, right? And you're like, oh no, he's losing money in a bar, and I'm like, see, that's way less disastrous.
Yeah, that would be a big misfortune. This
Probably.
is a small
Well,
misfortune.
because I saw Small and I thought prop plane, like a small plane. And then misfortune was plane crash. Anyway, I'll throw you a plot twist just for fun. It's a 68 and a 20 because it's a 10 and a 0. Okay, it was plan and disaster. So that leads me to believe that um, See, I'm having a Casino Royale thought in my head that the gambling was part of a plan, and it has gone.
That's what I just picked. Yep.
Yeah, it's gone horribly. Um, Now, if you wanted a double twist, it could be that the disaster is the plan. Him losing money was the plan. Like him losing the bet was on purpose.
I like it.
I have I know what it was. I know why. See, we're co-DMing here too, right? Is
Mhm.
that the agreement?
Yeah.
Um, the idea is that the money he's betting. See, this is in a D&D world with the standard D&D magic environment and stuff, and spells and whatnot. The money that
Mhm.
he is losing uh, is to be traceable, and he's losing the money in order to be able to track the person he's losing the money to.
Mm, I like it.
Yay. So, so it's a is it a nice busy tavern? Well, actually, for fun, I'm gonna roll on motivations too to see why, and we'll see if that confirms it or if it adds something else. So what?
You roll for Goodwin's motivations. I'll roll for the person he's losing the money to's motivations.
There we go. This is another thing that I sometimes do is I overroll because I like to ask the dice questions. So what are Goodwin's motivations in going to this tavern and gambling? 89. And what are Goodwin's motivations at this tavern and gamble? 37 in a row. Search and hate.
Interesting.
Hmm.
I just rolled a 20.
A 10 and a 0.
Yeah.
I read it as a 20, yes. Well, see, and sometimes I'll actually look at both. Like if it's a 10 and a 0, most people read that as a 10, I read it as a 20. So when I look at the chart, I'll actually look at both. So then what's the second one? Is it another 0?
No. I rolled a 20 and a 69.
Nice. Well, I know that guy's
Nice.
motivations. So 69 is official, 10 is character, and 20 is emotion. So is this a not necessarily a government official, but is this a person with some rank, an
I
official
mean,
of
that would
some
make
kind?
sense if we're going with some of the backstory that we have already planned for
Hmm.
Goodwin and his dad.
Hmm.
Because his dad is the headmaster of
Hmm. The
a
chancellor.
university the size of a city and
Hmm.
is the advisor to the ruler of the land.
It's true. Hey,
So,
hey, witch lady.
hi, we've missed you. So sorry we've been gone for so
That's
long.
we're like, you know what?
Hi, Miss Lady.
We're just yeeting ourselves back off into the deep end.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it would make sense if it's political because maybe he's like, okay, thoughts.
Well, okay. So, do you want to roll
What
for it?
if
Go ahead.
what if nobody knows he's his son?
Outside, just in general.
Yeah.
Okay. So in order for that scenario to work, because the idea was that he was found while they were on an expedition. In order for that
Hmm.
to work, no one else. There's two possibilities. Either no one else knew he was found, like that his dad was on this expedition by himself, or none of the people who knew he was found are able to tell or are
Yeah.
able to say so. So they're either dead or modified memory or something like that.
It's just an option. The other thing is
Mhm.
maybe this person just doesn't know he's his son.
Well, so do you want to roll for the character table? I knew I could do it. 48. Um, so roll 2d100. This is just thinking about the official that is the target, essentially.
Ooh. Okay. Real quick.
Mhm.
You said money that could be traced, right?
Mhm.
What if this is
Mhm.
money that's from some kind of fund or treasury and you're
Mhm.
following it because this person is suspected of embezzling money, stealing money from one of the government treasuries.
Mhm. 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 I dig it. I dig it. Uh, so yeah, roll the D100 twice. This is on character, so this is going to tell us about. This is for your guy, not your guy, as if it's. This is for the mark, as it were.
88
Mhm. Mhm. Okay,
and 16.
and 16. That is strong and colorful. Hmm. Well, see, again, did you just pull it out of my head? An
God, I
Aarakocra?
hope so.
An Aarakocra?
No.
Okay. An ossuary
That
Aarakocra.
fucking D&D movie from the early 2000s with Jeremy Irons. And
Oh
his
god.
henchman that had the bright blue lipstick for the entire movie.
It's him.
That is the image that popped into my head.
It is him. Confirmed. Well.
Oh
So
my
he
God.
so he got what what
Um,
what was his motivation again? It was
no, I
official.
like your idea of a colorful Aarakocra, but that was the thought that crossed my mind was strong and colorful, and it's just that if anybody is in the chat, if you have not seen it, just look up pictures of the early 2000s D&D movie with Jeremy Irons.
Mhm. Yep.
Was it the 90s? I don't know. I think it was the 2000s. I think it was like the early 2000s.
Maybe. Dungeon traps.
It
What's
was
motivations?
2000.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Oh.
So basically, we're both.
In the
And then
year
just look up henchman
2000.
and you'll see he's this bald, like buff, tough looking bodyguard dude who for some reason they decided to give him like almost periwinkle blue lipstick.
Smurf.
Like yeah, almost Smurf blue lipstick that he had for the whole movie. No explanation why.
Amazing.
Anyway, I
So
digress.
that's what we do. So his motivation, by my reckoning, is official emotion. I also sometimes read them separately. Like, I guess you're supposed to kind of read them in tandem. Um, but sometimes I do read them separately where I would take official as one part of his motivation. One see, I okay. I always accidentally use male pronouns. So, is the mark? Do you want to roll for this? Is the mark a woman or a man? You can ask whichever you want.
As if they're a woman, I got a 68.
Okay, so that's a no.
Asked if they were a man and 45.
Okay. Yep.
Hold on,
Okay.
wait. Oh. Okay, no, they're cis man. I was asking if they were a trans man. I got a 70.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So he is colorful and strong and official. His motivations are official and emotion. That's
Official
intriguing.
and what?
Emotion.
Mm, I take that as he is some kind of government official
Mhm.
and he um
Well, might he?
he's a gambler.
The kind
Like a like a like
like
a
gambling addict.
addicted.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
gambling addict.
he lets his emotion. He like when he gambles, he doesn't gamble rationally. He gambles with
Mhm.
his heart rather than his mind. Um, the thought had occurred. So this is actually a bit of world building then, because I imagined him as an official of a rival university. But if this world is a place where there are universities the size of cities, effectively the universities are on the level of governmental power. Like it is a um my brain won't give me the word. It's not municipal, but it is a administrative power. It's like this. It's like a small country
Yeah.
or a city
Maybe
state.
maybe the chancellor of the university is like the advisor to the king or the
Mhm,
to the ruler. I don't want to say king.
mhm,
To the ruler of the land. And then under him there's like there's a council that is made up of the like dean of every
mhm,
school.
mhm,
So you have like the dean of the alchemy, you have dean of arts, you have dean of,
mhm,
languages and literature. And
mhm,
so they also bring things to like to the ruler,
mhm.
and then from there it goes through the advisor. So like it would be
Mm.
like a council that the king could sit in on and like listen, or that the ruler could sit in and listen.
Well, so I'm gonna roll this one because this is for Goodwin. Is this person he's gambling with somebody he knows? It's a 61. The thought that I was having was that this was someone not from a rival university. It's an official from his own university, and who is suspected of being a spy or like double crossing them. And the idea of giving him traceable money was to be able to track him to whatever locations they don't know he's going to. But on a 61, that's a no. So at the very least, Goodwin doesn't know this person. Now, whether or not this other bit of backstory is the case, it might not be a need to know. If you want to roll for whether or not he works for the place that Goodwin is connected with, you can do that if you want.
I just asked if he worked for the treasury, and that's a 34.
Yep, yep, yep. He works for the Treasury. So he's Alexander Hamilton, is what I'm hearing.
Maybe he's one of the guards. You know how like there's the guards that stand outside of Buckingham Palace with like the big
Mm,
headpiece and everything. Maybe
mm,
that's why he's colorful. Maybe he's one of the guards that stands out there and has like a specific type of uniform so that you know that
mm.
they are
He's a
the
he's a ceremonial guard.
Mhm.
Um, well, okay. So Goodwin is currently losing money. Let's see if this is a contentious situation or if it's good natured. I kind of feel like Goodwin's the type of dude, like if he's going to gamble, he knows his risks. Like he's the responsible gambler. He doesn't gamble what he can't afford to lose. So like if he's losing money, he's like, I kind of expected that. Is this a friendly situation? A 17 is a friendly situation. Um, so would you like an inciting event then? So we essentially have our uh environment, our situation. But if you would like to roll the focus of the random event, I keep
I've got
step.
one or two rolls.
It's one.
83.
83 is PC positive. So this is good for Goodwin. So if you want to roll it again twice for the action, this will tell us what's good for me.
25
Okay.
and 63.
So 25 is create, 63 is official, and we came up with the motivation that came up for your guy was also official. So create official. See now, I'm almost more interested in what your interpretation would be because, as we've discussed, my interpretations start going too big. Um, create official. This is a PC positive, but now a random event is not something that the PC does. It's something that happens, and unless it's like a remote event or something, it's something that happens in the environment that the PC is in. So create official is not something that Goodwin does. It's something that happens in this moment. That is positive for Goodwin. I feel like it's got to be connected directly with this guy.
Um um
You can also, I mean, if you want, you can roll. So sometimes I will roll two more, not for a different answer, but
I
I'll
think I
base.
think I will.
I'll ask the dice, give me more information about this thing. So basically, you get four
58,
things. Okay. Okay.
58 and 59.
Interesting. So 58 is invade and 59 is news.
Um,
So an invasion of news or news of an invasion. But see, again, I now here I can go small. What if it's just like an influx of page like an influx of customers, and like I'm literally thinking of like a birthday party doing a pub crawl. So this group of people just come swarming in. There's maybe a dozen of them. They're already two and a half sheets to the wind. Um, but they bring with them news of something that is beneficial to our character, to Goodwin. Um,
the way that my mind worked
mhm.
was that a messenger comes in.
Okay. And like the invade is just that they interrupt the game.
Mhm. They're interrupting the game because Goodwin has been summoned. Something
Mm,
big enough that whoever it was knew what you were doing at this moment was like,
mhm.
"Nope, I need him right now."
And create official could be the messenger is delivering an official, so like a summons from an official office. Um, yeah, I mean that all works together. So so now we have.
It is an official letter from
Mhm.
your father.
See, now I'm worried because sometimes Dad just sends me voicemails and whatnot. If Dad is sending me messages on his official letterhead, it's like we've doubled up. This is that weird part for Goodwin. This is that weird part of the family Venn diagram where Dad and boss overlap.
Mhm.
But
Cuz the
now,
big thing
mhm,
the big thing that I feel like your dad would have instilled in you
mhm,
is that you have to work for what you want.
mhm,
Nepotism is not going to get you where you want to be. And he
right,
has made it very clear to everyone who is in, you know, university or whatnot. He
mhm,
does not he will not be angry. He will not be upset. He will not he has it like written down in a an official document signed by the ruler of the land. I will
mhm,
not come after anybody for having issues with my son or not hiring my son or whatever. He's like,
mhm,
I want you to fairly judge him as you would any other person who comes to you.
mhm,
He is not my son when it comes to that respect. He is a
right,
person. And so like you have not gotten to the position you've gotten to because of him.
right. And that meshes with the idea of few people really knowing. Like
Mhm.
it's sort of the way that like Stephen King and Joe Lindstrom, Joseph Hillstrom King is Stephen King's son, but Joe King publishes under the name Joe Hill, so that it's the
Joe
same
King. I see why he
Joe
changed his
King.
name.
I mean, there's also that. But it's the same thing that Nicolas Cage did. He's Francis Ford Coppola's nephew, I think, and his name, I think, is Nicholas Coppola, and he changed it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah, and he changed his name. I think it's Nicola Coppola. I don't like to be
Hmm.
wrong, so I'm actually going to double check it right now. But I think that's correct.
Yeah, I
Uh,
love this idea that like he is your father, he was there for you, but like
mhm,
he's told you from a very early age you have to work for what you want
mhm,
and you can't I will not allow you to get anywhere
mhm.
by using my name.
I was going to say I like the idea that Goodwin is a name he chose. It's not his father's last. It's not the last name of. It's not Chancellor Goodwin. Goodwin was, a couple words he threw together, and not now he's my second character who has something like that. But yes, he in this it is Nicholas Kim Coppola is Nick Cage's real name, and yeah, he changed it when he went on auditions because he didn't want to get unfairly rewarded for being Francis Ford Coppola's nephew. So, when you're using Mythic, you generally, when you're using this system, you have a threads list and an NPC list, a characters list, because two of the options, um, or a couple of the options in the event focus table deal with threads and NPCs. So, like, it'll be NPC action sometimes. When
Mhm.
that happens, you roll on the characters list to see which NPC it is. There's two. There's one that says move away from a thread and one that says move toward a thread. So if you roll
Mhm.
that, you roll on the threads table to tell you which thread you're either moving away from or moving towards. So the thread, if we're sticking with, and this is another thing that I have to kind of get my head over, is the idea that you're supposed to go with your inspiration. So this idea that he is Casino Royaling this guy and he's deliberately losing to this guy in order to make sure this traceable money is in his possession. We're supposed to go with that because that was the inspiration we got from the words. I
Mhm.
have a tendency to overroll because, like, I'll have a thought like in that area, and I'll be like, well, I need to test it and make sure it's right. And it's like it's not right or wrong. It's your inspiration, so go with it.
Mhm.
So, um, tracking the gambler is a thread. And now I've got on the character list the gambler and the messenger. Nobody has names, and I'm here for it. So I get a summons from Dad. I'm gonna roll on the object
From
list just to.
Dad, what that also has underneath it, like on the
Mm,
bottom of it, a seal from the ruler, like his ring stamp.
hmm it's got both of them. It's like when you get something signed by like the president of an organization, the treasurer of the organization's secretary. It's got the king seal. It's got the university seal. Let's see. I'm gonna roll on objects for the letter just for fun. 23 and 86. Delightful and strange. That tracks. All right. Well, they're summoning me. So where are they
Ah,
summoning me?
I just
So
accidentally did.
hmm.
I think it may have gone.
Well, so Goodwin's being summoned because of the invade news is it's he's being summoned because something's happened and it takes
Mhm.
precedence over this thing he's doing now. So there is something that is more immediately important. Um, so I honestly, whatever the letter says doesn't fully matter because he's not going to be like, yeah, go back and tell my dad I'll be there in a minute. Like he's going to disengage from the table. He's going to probably finish the round. Like, let's say they're playing. Uh, are they playing poker? Poker seems so
Oh,
basic.
sorry, I asked a question.
Yeah, I know. Are they playing poker 50-50? 26. They're playing poker. It's so basic. They're playing poker. He finishes his last hand. Make sure he loses. Go ahead.
No, keep going.
He actually had a winning. He had a hand he was sure was going to win, and he folds so that he loses. And
Because he has been summoned to the private chambers of the king. Or the
mm,
ruler. Fuck. Keep saying king. It's the
okay,
ruler.
we're going to take a
The
pause.
sovereign.
We've talked about this. King, the word king comes from or originates from the meaning of leader of a group. It does not mean a male leader. So
Yeah.
in a
Oh no, I
fantasy
know
world,
that. I just don't
mhm.
like the word king in this like
Oh, in the, like I
setting.
got you because it's not. It's this is I get a like
I would
a
rather it be like sovereign.
I get a sense of a mix, and maybe this is just me because like I did this with the city of Terresting too, sort of a mix between medieval and old west. That's
I mean,
sort of,
it's like medieval steampunk is kind of what we're
yeah.
not
So
Victorian, but like medieval, like early.
yeah. So the we'll come up with a different title.
I like sovereign. I think the
Sovereign
sovereign
works.
works.
Sovereign works.
So you have been summoned to the private chambers of the sovereign of the whole area.
Again. All right. Well, and I buy and I'm gonna buy the guy who was beating me. I'm gonna buy him a drink too as a parting gift. Because like that's the thing. You want your marks. You want to leave your marks happy because then they're
Exactly.
you want to leave them happy and drunk because then they're less
Mhm.
suspicious. All right. So I'm gonna go to. I assume this is all in the same city. Is this all in the universe? Is this all in the universe city?
Um, no, but you know that you can go to your um father's place. There is a teleportation circle
Mm. So so
that
what?
leads to
Well, what city? So I'm not in. So essentially now there's three locations. There's the town I'm in. There's the
you're in the
universities.
university.
Oh, okay, okay.
Oh, I guess so. No, so you would be in. I'm sorry, my brain. Um, thank you for clarifying. No, you are in the city. You are not in the university city. You are in the city of the sovereign.
Okay.
Because in the
Because
city of the
this
sovereign, nobody knows who the fuck you are.
Yeah, and this guy this mark that I'm tracking is works for the treasury
Of the
in the city
treasury.
of the sovereign. Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm in the nest at the moment.
And there is a teleportation circle in the castle that connects the sovereign city to the headmaster, to chancellor's
Hmm.
building. And it's
In
like
in the universe
in the
city. Yeah.
in
So there's two
the
cities right
Hyrotech.
now. Yeah.
Yes, there's Hyrotech and the sovereign city. We will find a name for.
And I am in Sovereign City.
Hmm.
Okay.
So
And
you have been
the
summoned to
sovereigns
the castle.
the sovereign's chambers are in obviously Sovereign City.
Hmm.
Well, I'm gonna go there. Is
So
the
you will go with the messenger then.
is the sovereign a woman? Do you want to roll that?
Yes. Yes. 26.
Correct. Does I'll roll this one. Does Goodwin? Go ahead.
She
I'll
is
roll it.
also young.
She's young,
Yeah, I asked if she was under the age of 30 and I rolled a 49.
so she's 29. That's another thing that I do that's not necessary. It's not really in the book, but I have like degrees of yes because there already sort of are degrees of yes. Like if you're rolling 50-50, if you roll a 10 or below, that's an exceptional yes. And if you roll 91 or higher, it's an exceptional no. But I also do in
Yeah.
between where, yeah, if 50-50, if you roll 50 or lower, it's a yes. But if you roll a 50, a 49, it's like just barely a yes. So in that case, you asked younger than 30, just barely a yes. She's 29. So the
Yeah,
fun
because I
thing,
rolled, is she younger than 25 and I rolled a 98. So,
there you go. Exactly. I had rolled, remember when I had rolled for Goodwin, I told the dice, I said he is older than 25 and younger than 50, I think I said, or younger than 60. And I said, how old is he? And I rolled a 48. So Goodwin is 48. um, does Goodwin, well, see that I feel like that bumps the chance. I'm going to say the chances of this one are 55%. Does Goodwin know the sovereign's favorite flower? 61, he doesn't. That now, that's probably to prevent me from misplaying him, given our other discussions. All right,
yes.
well, I'm going with the messenger.
Okay.
Come on, buddy. Let's go. You want to drink for the road? No.
I'm going to roll on the character table for the sovereign.
Okay. Is this personality or just the character table?
Personality
Okay.
first, and then a character table.
Okay.
And the name Shauna, for some reason, is in my head.
Then that's it.
Do I roll twice?
Yes.
Okay. So 25 and
Mhm.
88.
Interesting. She is both confident and shallow. It's intriguing.
I like
You
the idea that she is confident and she's a strong ruler, but she absolutely is like one of those sovereigns that's like, what color are the other countries like high lords and ladies wearing this season? Like
mhm,
she's definitely about the fashion.
mm,
But that doesn't make her inept. She's
right.
just like
Yeah.
she's a confident ruler, but God does she love the fashion. You know what
I dig
I
it.
imagine in my head? She is
Mhm.
Meryl Streep from The Devil Wears Prada.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. Roll one more time on the personality table just for fun. That's the thing.
Okay,
I like having like three or four sometimes.
16.
16. Brave. I like it.
Yeah.
I love the idea that she is confident and brave because possibly and probably because the things she's interested are seen as the things that weak, inept people would be interested in. And so she's got to work harder to prove she's not that, even though she's interested in these things.
Even though she's a fashionista.
Hmm. It would be like if Kim Kardashian became like president. You know what I mean? Despite the fact that Kim Kardashian is an exceptional businesswoman. Because my brain went
Mhm.
Paris Hilton, and then I'm like, no, Paris Hilton's like fucking smart as hell. And then I went Kim Kardashian, and I'm like, yeah, but she's also fucking smart as hell.
Mhm.
It's
Yep.
fine.
And so then on just the character table,
Hmm.
do I roll once or twice?
Twice.
58
Mhm, mhm, mhm. Oh,
and 60.
she is lonely and loyal.
Hmm.
So I imagine
I mean, she's 29. She's still young.
I imagine then if she's lonely and loyal, I imagine that she was probably like a child queen. She's actually probably been queen for probably 20, almost 20 years. And she was an only child, and her parents died when she was very young. And um, I guess this nation, when you inherit the throne, you inherit the throne. It doesn't matter. Now, obviously, she would have had I don't remember the term for it, but the viziers, the caretaker slash advisors, who would have been like, okay, a 9-year-old really can't make these calls, but like at the
Well,
same
that's
time,
probably the heads of all of the universities. They're the ones that
mhm,
would teach her about
yeah.
all of the subjects and all of the things and the workings of the world.
Hmm. And at the same time that they're like, a 9-year-old can't make these calls. It was also very much a crash course in like, these are the decisions you are going to have to make. And so we're going to teach you, we're going to start right now teaching you how to make these decisions and make these calls because that's your job now. That's who you are now. And
Mhm.
it was very lonely because she didn't get to be a kid. She was a
Mhm.
fucking queen.
Yeah.
Some kids went to middle school. She became a queen.
Yeah. I also like this idea that at least right now, because she is also only 29, she has made the decision that she is not going to marry
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
she knows that if she knows the way of men and men want power, And
Mm-hmm.
so she doesn't want to risk her kingdom to the chances of marrying a man who's going to try to take over,
Yeah.
so to speak.
Yeah.
And
I was.
so she has decided that when the time comes, she will choose her
Mm-hmm.
successor. Does not have to be a
Mm-hmm.
child. And if it is a child, it could be that she's like, I'm just gonna have some friends with benefits, pretty much.
That's true. Well,
Like
and there's another question. Do you want to roll for this, or or do you want both of us, or me? Um, is this a hereditary uh, lineage? Does each ruler have to be genetically related to their predecessor? No.
77.
Well, yes. So no, the answer is no. Doubles would be a random event, but if the chaos factor, if we're starting at 5 or even 6, it's not 77 is too high. But no, yeah, so it's not a hereditary monarchy.
Josh just showed me a bumper sticker that he
Mm,
saw today
No, it was yesterday,
or
but
yesterday.
mm.
what will it do?
It is a wiener dog and it says, I've got friends in low places.
That's funny. That's funny.
Anyway, um yeah, I like this idea that the sovereign gets to choose their successor, and
Mm,
in doing so, they're not leaving fate to chance, because
right.
as we've seen with kings and queens of past histories,
Hmm.
just because you're the son or daughter of the king or queen does not mean that you are fit to rule.
Yep, yep.
And
So
so,
it's so essentially, she's the CEO of this
kind
nation,
of, yeah. And I would
and
imagine that that the chancellor of the university and all of his advisors, all of the heads of the different departments,
mm,
they have the dean's list. They have a list
hmm
of promising individuals, candidates
hmm
that they screen
hmm
and figure out if they would be a good fit, and then like bring pretty much profiles to her and are like, these are the
hmm
students that are very promising, who have the potential to be great leaders
hmm
and might say yes
right.
if you ask.
Yeah. Now,
The
if
thing is, she wouldn't be like, you're gonna be the successor, and the person's
mhm,
like, I don't want to be.
yeah.
Like
Now, if
I imagine it's like by a certain age
mhm,
that if they show promise, maybe there's like a class type thing that they do with the sovereign to learn political
essentially,
things.
I was gonna say essentially AP courses. Now, if this is the case,
Mhm.
though, if this is the case, well, I do have one question. It's separate from this, but that'll be next. Well, I'm gonna re-roll that because it is a 50 and a 0, and I please confirm, dice. It's a 38. Okay. Um, this country used to be a hereditary monarchy. So at some point,
Mhm.
there was, and it might have even been. Now, I guess the question is how far in the past that was. Because if it's recent, then the political fallout and the political ramifications that are still going to be playing out, and those become world elements. Um,
Mhm.
so I'm going to say, was this within the last 50 years? Did the change occurred? 34. Was this within the last 30 years that this change occurred? 100. So it was not with it. So it was about 40 years ago then, probably. Yeah, it was about 40 years ago. So it was before her. Um,
Mhm.
now the other thing, and this can be a role or this can be a decision, is if the university is the organization that is essentially scouting prospects for the sovereignship and bringing these profiles to the sovereign, is there a mechanism in place to make sure that everyone has a chance to be considered? Because if not, then it's creating essentially a classist situation where only the people who can go to this university are able to be considered.
Um, I think it's the idea of like this university is open to anyone, but you have to you have to pass a certain level of like honestly, I feel like it's a
Like an entrance
there's like a
exam.
test.
Yeah, like an
Yeah,
entrance
there's an
exam.
exam. But it doesn't it's not so much based on knowledge per se, because not everybody necessarily has access to knowledge, but it's
Yep.
more of like a personality test and just
Mhm. Well,
basic instincts
it
kind of
could
thing.
it could be like a
Quiz.
it's an interview more than it is a test,
Mhm.
and there are
Yeah,
magical
yeah.
elements to it also. Um, and I'm glad you pointed out that not everybody has access to the same information, because that's one of the major criticisms of the SATs. Is that,
Yeah.
colleges are like, oh yeah, anybody can get in if you have the right SAT scores, and it's like, okay, but we have like factual proof that the SATs, by the way they're constructed, certain groups of people score poorer on them because they don't have access to the information, or the education prior to that
Yeah,
moment.
it's either that or it's the type of thing that like they have like a base class, almost like a community college kind of thing. That
Hmm.
like anyone who wants to learn just
Hmm.
learn basic things is
Hmm.
welcome to come and learn.
Hmm.
And doesn't matter what your background is, if you can't read, if you can't spell, what you don't can't do math, whatever,
Hmm.
come, we'll teach you. We want
Yeah.
there to be educated people, and then from those types of things, finding the students that want to stick with it and are really
Hmm.
succeeding. And
Yeah.
so they are educating populace,
Mm.
and then they're also taking the ones that have potential and then want to learn more beyond what they're learning now,
Hmm.
and just they keep elevating them up in classes. So like
Yeah.
you can leave at any time if you need
Hmm.
to, if you want or need to go back home to help your family or whatnot. You can take as many of these courses as you want, but it's like a progressive step up, step up, step up, step up.
Hmm.
So after a certain amount of time, then
Hmm.
they're in more advanced classes.
Yeah.
But even if they don't make it that far, they're still able to teach the
Hmm.
lower class people how to read and write and do things that are going to benefit them in their lives, even if they're not
Hmm.
going to be scholars
Yeah.
speak.
And I kind of like the idea of paying, if that there you don't pay to go here. It's not a tuition based thing.
Hmm.
You contribute in whatever way you can. So if you go there and you can cook, then you can cook. And, and in some cases, it's not even a barter situation, because there are enough people doing enough things that, like, if somebody comes in and doesn't necessarily have a skill that is needed, then it's okay,
Hmm.
because they're going to acquire skills. And it's that same idea that uh, every student educated is an investment, because that student, once educated, then has skills that they can use to contribute
Hmm.
to society.
Yeah, and I'm sure that there are businesses, because like this is a city. There are businesses, and there are
Hmm.
things. There's not excess of the same things, but there's enough to make sure that everything runs properly for
Hmm.
the amount of people who are there.
Right.
And I like this idea that this is the main university, and like I said, there's community colleges. I like the
Mhm.
idea that there are schools around the land that are
Mhm.
those beginner schools.
Mhm.
They're your kindergartens and your middle schools and your high schools, so to speak,
Mhm.
for the people who can access, who are close enough. And
Well,
then from there, if they're if they succeed enough, it's like, okay, we're sending you to the city
Sending you
and
to
like
the
get them
Emerald
set up
City.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I kind of like the idea too that the idea that there are a fair number of students who get the education they want and they get the level that they want, and then they go back to their towns and they create schools and essentially they spread the education they got to other people who can't necessarily get to this university. See, we're essentially fixing the education department in the real world.
Yeah. And I'm sure we could nitpick and get to the all of the socioeconomic stuff, but like
Hmm.
I love this idea of this like altruistic. They're not trying to be a utopia, but they're just trying to make sure that the people that are in their country
Mm.
have the best chance that they can to do something with their lives,
Mm.
even if that means just going back and being a farmer. You're a
Right.
farmer that understands how the world works, how
Mm.
maybe you take specific classes in agriculture because you really like plants, and you
Right.
learn about the pH of the soil, and you learn about all the things that make it that you can be successful in what you do.
You learn how to
Because
hybridize. You learn how to hybridize foods and literally create new foods, new
exactly.
vegetables,
So I
new
like this
flowers.
idea that there's not a population of super poor people. There might be a
Mhm.
population of people that are not as rich as everyone else, but I feel like the poorest people in their society are like lower middle class for us.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Well, and
and even then, it's like they're not struggling.
right. It's the idea that somehow, if finally, and it's probably the end, not the end, but it's probably the result of a lot of failures along the way. But this is a
Mhm,
country, at least, if not it's not a world that's this way, but it's a country that has an understanding that when you take care of everybody, the nation does better. Like
mhm.
when everybody can do their best because their basic needs are met, they don't have to struggle just to stay at zero.
Exactly. They don't need to
It's
have tons of organizations that are doing things to help the poor,
mm,
because the poor people have had the money to help
there's
them get to a place where they're comfortable,
yeah.
and like,
There is no poor,
yeah.
and it's the investment idea. See, and not to make this real world, not to make it political. It's actually not political, but not to make it real world. Um, it's the argument that I've always made about making college, at least public colleges, making them tuition free, because
Mhm.
it's an investment. But to understand it as an investment, you have to have a long term view. And just from a monetary point of view, in the United States, if public universities were tuition free, it would pay for itself over the course of 20 years for every individual because uh, just off of the fact that people who have a college degree tend to make a certain percentage more than people with a high school degree, and that when you make more money, you end up in a higher tax bracket, so you end up paying more in taxes. So ultimately, within 20
And you spend
years,
more money
you
to the
spend more money.
businesses around.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
at the individual level, it pays itself back into the social circle, but you have to have that longer view, and you can't be looking for immediate return on investment. It's
Yeah.
it's
So
buying to hold, not buying to trade.
I kind of like the idea of almost like a Robin Hood-esque thing happened when back, 40 years ago, that
Mm-hmm.
they were like, all right, how much money do we have? Like what's in the treasury? What do we
Mm-hmm.
have, coming in and out? And they did a full economic breakdown, and they were like, okay, we can afford to give X amount of people X amount of money based on
Mm-hmm.
their personal wealth. They pretty much audited their entire kingdom
Yeah.
and figured out brackets of like, okay, well, if we give these people who only have this much money 100 gold every quarter,
Mm-hmm.
these folks over here don't need that because they already have it. So we'll throw like 10 gold at them every quarter or whatever, just to
Mm-hmm.
help them keep their you know.
You do realize every conservative just had this weird shiver up their spine at this moment because you're literally talking about the redistribution of wealth, which is their greatest
Mhm.
fucking nightmare. What?
Mhm.
Okay, now I am going to get political. Ironically, they don't have an issue with redistribution of wealth. They have an issue with the redistribution of wealth downward. They're perfectly
Mhm.
fine with the redistribution of wealth upward, which is what happens when you have corporations who privatize profits and socialize losses. Anyway,
Yes.
I am curious now because I have a slight notion. Was this thing that happened 40 years ago a violent overthrow? 71. The notion that I had was that essentially they did this audit, and it was essentially the majority was like, this is what we're going to do. And the people who wanted to maintain the status quo were like, no. And the majority was like, here's the thing. If you don't do this, we're gonna make it happen. And so the ones who wanted the status quo were like, I mean, I don't want to die. And so essentially it was there was no war. It was negotiated.
It was a silent takeover.
Mm. Oh, it was a hostile takeover. Like, yes.
It was a hostile takeover because I rolled a
Mhm.
6.
Boom. Yep.
And I like
Yep.
this idea that it was a hostile takeover, but they were like, if you let us do this, we will still let you have power.
Yeah.
You can still have power. You can still be a person of power. You just can't have all the power.
Now here's the question. To bring it back to the story, the treasury guy, the guy who works at the treasury, the gambler, is this somebody who is directly related or directly connected to that incident? That's a 12. So the gambler, so I guess the question, how old is the gambler? I'm going to roll so this basically gives a chance between 1 and 100 years old. Since I'm asking the dice how old this person is, how old is this person on the percentile die? 50. So this person would have been 10 years old when this happened.
What
So,
race are they? They wouldn't necessarily have been 10. What race are they?
well, this I asked how many years old.
Oh, okay. Fair.
Well, but here's what I'm thinking then is this person's did one or both of this person's the gambler's parents were they part of this, because essentially before it became what it was an aristocracy. It was a monarchy with a bunch of like rich lords, and so like it would have been it would have been likely then that this gambler's parents were, and that would explain why this guy is such a gambling addict. He's obsessed with recovering money.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, where his parents essentially aristocrats as part of the previous government. That's a 25. Yep. So his parents, both, likely both, were of the aristocracy, and probably like if a king had a cabinet, like they were probably in the, if not the inner circle, the circle around that one. Uh, and so his family took what they consider to be a personal hit, which they didn't. They're fine. They were fine. But, it was an insult to their dignity to have what they believed they worked for, which is hilarious because they probably did
Mhm.
like very little work. They inherited all of it. But
Mhm.
what was theirs was taken from them and spread around to people who didn't, this is getting political, to people who didn't work for it, you know.
Correct.
And
Anyway, you've been
yeah,
summoned to the chambers
I have
of the
been
sovereign.
summoned to the chambers of the sovereign, and I'm following the messenger. I assume Goodwin knows the way, but he's just accompanying because the messenger is his. Like if he were to go up by himself, they're going to be like, "What, state your business," and he's going to have to wait. But the messenger walks up, and they're like, Take them through. Take them through.
Yep.
Come on in.
The messenger has been sent to collect you at all cost.
So now here's the question, or not the question. Here's the scenario. Essentially, what we've had is already the first scene. The tavern was the first scene. The messenger showing up with the summons. Leaving the tavern was the end of the first scene. They are now in transit. So if we started at a level at a chaos factor 5, um, I would argue that, and I don't like chaos factors going down, but I would argue that Goodwin was fairly in control because he was losing on purpose. Like he was doing what he was
Mhm.
there to do. Um, so
I would
technically,
argue the chaos factor is going up because you don't
well,
know what the fuck's going on.
so there are two different ways. There's multiple different ways to do it. There are two main different ways to do it. One is if the characters, if the PCs are in control, then the chaos factor goes down. The other way of doing it is if the PCs were in control, the chaos factor goes up because it's the idea that the out of controlledness is essentially building until it eventually
Mhm.
releases. And once you have a scene where the character doesn't have control, then the chaos factor goes back down. And essentially it's meant to push it in the other direction. So if you
Hmm.
want, yeah, it goes to 6. So now you get to roll a d10, or I can roll it, the single digit die. This will determine
10.
10. Oh, this happens exactly as anticipated. Because I was going to ask if they encountered anything along the way. But the way that the expected scene works is that the next expected scene is they're going to arrive at the castle of the sovereign and have this meeting. If you were to roll an interrupt or an altered scene, that would be the had an encounter along the way.
Mhm.
What? So I'm going to roll on my side just to see if my roll aligns with yours. But your
This
roll
this
is the official,
messenger is like nothing is stopping us.
right?
Some
Yeah,
guard comes up, "Oi, what you doing?" Just holds up a badge and keeps walking. Like
yeah.
we got
Um,
shit to do.
yeah. Do they? Well, so that would actually be interesting. Do Goodwin and the messenger encounter anything of note on their way to the castle? 14. But I like the idea that, like Aoife walking through the town of Dunson, something happens that they completely fucking ignore. Like there's shit going down, something's happening, and both of them, Goodwin's like, not my business, and the messenger's like, town guard will take care of it
I rolled a 22.
for if something happened or if they encountered anything of note. Okay,
If anything is happening around them.
so then roll for the event, but they don't have to engage with it. Depending on what it is, they don't have to
Correct.
engage with it. So roll for the focus. This is one roll.
87.
87 is current context, which makes sense. So then roll twice for the action. So what is happening around them?
96.
Okay.
Wait. Yeah, 6. I had to make sure it was the right. It was the
Okay.
die that's either the 6 or the 9 depending on which
Mhm.
way it's facing.
Mhm.
And 40.
Was it a 30 and a 0?
Or I guess it would be 50. So it was a 40 and a 0.
Okay. So 96 is truce. 40 is home, 50 is investment. So the way I'd read it as a 50, it's a truce of investment. Is this
Hmm.
a thing that is happening like out in the street? I just rolled an 11 for if this is something happening out in the streets. So I'm going to roll on the focus table. That's a 13, which is a new NPC. So a truce of investment. New NPC. So I'm going to roll for character first. 71 and 71 and 71. I just rolled back-to-back 71s. So when you do that, like specifically on the character table, because this is one table, with the action table, it's two D100 tables, so you can't get the same
Mhm.
answer. When you do it on the character table or a lot of the different tables, if you roll the same number, you get the same answer. And that just means that answer is amplified. The number I got was 71 is passive. So this is someone who is extremely passive. Um, so what is the action of this extremely passive new NPC? 76. Rolling a lot of 70s. 76. And 39. Relinquish hindrance. And truce of investment. I feel like this is something with the guards. If it's relinquish hindrance, like the hindrance would be stopping them at the gate. Relinquishing that would be
Mhm.
letting them through the gate. Literally, it's the guard going, "Hey, you, what you state your business," and the messenger literally not even looking at them, just holding up. I love the idea
Holding
to.
up like a coin, like it's like the coin of the sovereign.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
Yep.
challenge coin.
Yeah. And the so that's the truce of investment. That is the guard making a truce with the messenger to let them through, and the investment is the coin.
Mhm.
And this is good for me as someone using the mythic system in other capacities. Not every random event has to be earth shattering. It's just a thing that happens along the way. So we're heading inside the castle. Heading in the castle, and not the front door. I love the idea that it's like around the side of one of the turrets, and it's not a secret entrance, but it's like it's a quicker route. So it might be through the kitchens, but it's a quicker route
Mhm.
to the sovereign's chambers office.
It's through the garden.
Are we going to the garden?
It's through the garden.
Through the garden. Okay. Roll on the location tables to see specifically where, or to get a description specifically where in the castle this meeting would be taking place.
84.
This is the locations. There we go. And then roll again.
63.
Small and occupied. So there's the question: is the sovereign alone? Do you want to roll that since it's your sovereign?
I know for a fact, I don't even have to roll for it, the sovereign is not alone.
I just rolled a 22 on my question. So let's see. Focus is 04. That's interesting because it's a remote event. Remote events and ambiguous events are two of my favorites, despite the fact that they can be some of the more difficult ones. So a remote event, as it implies, is something that's not happening here, but something we find out about somehow. So the action is 8 and 96. That makes perfect sense, and it ties in with the messenger. What was it? It was something news, invade news, and honestly, it
Yep.
really ties in because I rolled a 22 when I asked is Goodwin's father there, and the remote event was attack vulnerability. So something is currently under attack.
Mhm.
Remote. So
Oh, I
something
know where this scene's going already.
beautiful. Yep. Somewhere. And see, and that's what I love about it. And I know it's the way it works is because it's the vague words and but it's
Yeah.
funny how perfectly everything falls together along the way.
Yes, absolutely.
Mhm,
They're meeting her
mhm, mhm.
in her personal library.
Love it, love it, love
I
it.
rolled a 5.
Amazing. Did you roll to see if anyone else additionally was there?
No, I have not.
Mm.
Actually, I know for a fact there isn't because I know where the scene is going.
Okay. We're going with what you say. I just want to see what my dice have to say. See, it just proves the dice don't always know. I rolled a 31 for is
Mm.
any well, no. I rolled a 31 on is anyone other than Goodwin's dad and the Sovereign there? Yes. Goodwin and the messenger are there. Is anyone other than the four of them there? That's a 91. See? You got to ask the right question. you got
Mm-hmm.
you got to
Mm-hmm.
ask properly. Yep.
So
So, I walk in.
the
Now,
messenger drops off this person
me.
who they do not know is connected to
Mhm.
either of these people.
Mhm.
Because nobody knows who you are in the city except for the sovereign
Mhm.
and your dad. And that's it.
Mhm. Mhm.
If anybody sees you and your dad together, you work for him.
Mhm.
So, the messenger leaves. The three of you in the library with the candlestick.
With the
Sorry.
candlestick, you damn right.
Um. So I would like to roll for the vibe of the room. I don't know what that would be
Let's
specifically.
see.
It could be the
Let's
setting
see.
the scene.
Um, well, there is adventure tone. So is this just like you're going for the vibe of this?
Like when he walks in, what's
Mhm.
the vibe?
Uh, roll on. So this is a descriptor. So basically, you're just asking for a description of the vibe, and you'll roll twice.
47
Mm-hmm.
and 68.
Hastily normal, which actually kind of does make a lot of sense because yeah, this
Mhm.
is a sovereign. They're used to a very busy, very uh, fast-paced lifestyle. So being hasty is normal for them. This is something that needs to be taken care of, but this is not out of the ordinary.
Mhm. There's my answer.
Yeah.
This is leading exactly where I thought it was.
I'm gonna roll on adventure tone just to see if this meshes with what you're doing. What is the tone of Nimwe's adventure? It's a 40 and a 0, so it is either goals or inspect. It's on tone, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
You rolled 2, don't you?
yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. So, well, for me, it's a 50. So, inspect, 22. Inspect creepy.
Okay. Okay.
So,
So,
Goodwin, I would assume there were no details in the summons. It was just get your ass over here. Yeah.
you have been summoned
Mhm.
to the presence of the sovereign, effective and required immediately.
Mhm. Yep. That's all I needed to know.
um, so when you get there, you see your father and you see Donna, the sovereign of the land,
Mhm, mhm,
and they proceed to tell you about an incident
mhm,
that very few people know about. And they are
mhm,
trying to get it taken care of with great haste without letting really anybody else know what the fuck's going on.
mhm, mhm, mhm,
Um and I rolled to see is this about the game that I have been planning. And I
mhm.
rolled a 7.
You
So
better
they
not
proceed to
this.
tell you
Mhm, mhm,
that a team of archaeologists have vanished from an
mhm,
archaeological site.
mhm,
They were there one moment and then gone.
mhm,
Everything was left where they were working.
mhm,
Nobody packed up anything. Like they just are gone.
mhm.
I like the idea of like there was a runner or someone who is going to do something, getting supplies or something like that, left that morning, came back, and everybody's gone. All their
Mhm.
tents are still there. There was still food like cooking over the fire in one place. Like they just
Yeah.
poof.
There's a half a beer that is in a cup that is owned by a guy who absolutely would not have left half of a beer.
Yeah.
And that's how he knows it's serious.
So they need you to investigate
Mhm.
and figure out what happened.
Done. Let's do this.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Yeah. Let's go. Let's go.
Okay. Because I like this idea that you go and investigate the site and you come back and you tell your dad what you find. And that's when your dad's like, we need to assemble the Avengers.
I was gonna say, am I going by myself? I would assume I am. I would assume I am going because I'm going essentially on a scouting mission.
Mhm.
And I'm
And they
capable.
have chosen you because you were the only person they can trust.
Mm,
Because your father trusts in you
mm-hmm,
explicitly.
mm-hmm,
Like,
mm-hmm.
there are other people with other motives and hands in different pockets and things because it's political. There's still bullshit, even if
Right.
they try to be as good of a kingdom as they can and great
Yes.
university. There's still bullshit.
Well, that's and the
And
yeah.
so
So essentially, the structures, the governmental apparatus was designed in such a way that the government operates for the best of all the people. That doesn't prevent individuals from doing individual bullshit at that level.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so they don't know who or what is behind this. They don't want to freak people out because I mean, this is a big team of people. Like
Mm-hmm.
we're talking like 30 plus people just
Mm-hmm.
gone. And so they don't want to alert their families. They don't want
Mm-hmm.
to cause any kind of disruption. And so they're like, this needs to be done hastily, quietly, and the only people who know that anything is happening are you, your father, and that messenger, because that messenger was one that came back and discovered
That was I was
everyone was
literally
gone.
I was literally going to ask if the runner is still there. So, no.
The runner is out of the room, but the runner knows what happened because they were there. They don't know what your involvement is,
Well, and they also don't know. So essentially, the only thing I need from them is the location from the runner,
which
because
they've already given to
right, because
the
yeah,
sovereign. Like, yeah. Like the
it's
sovereign chose that person to get you because they didn't want anybody else who
involved.
wasn't aware of the situation involved at all.
Yeah, because
Like,
it's
you know
because
what's going on. We can't
mm,
tell you who this person is, but we need you to go get him.
yeah, because essentially the first thing Goodwin's going to do is he's going to talk to the runner, and I assume that's. I mean, well, I guess if you want to roll because he's your character, if there's and you can set those odds, but I would roll to see if there's any additional information he's able to give in a conversation, like because that's I would assume there's no additional information to be had.
It's a 6. Okay. Um, the runner did not stay in the room, but they will take you to the location.
Okay, well there we go. Um, do you want to roll on well, we're not there yet, so we won't worry about that yet. Um, so Do you want to roll then to see how distant, or do you already know how distant the site was? Did the runner come back physically, or did they teleport or use magical means? Because that would change it. Because essentially the question is like, um, is this
I rolled
within
a 44 for if they teleported.
So they did. Go ahead and roll it.
53.
53 is move toward a thread.
Haha!
So roll a d4 just for fun, because there are currently 2 threads.
1.
One is tracking the gambler. Interesting. So roll twice for the action.
So I rolled a 61
Mhm.
and a 38.
61 is misuse, and 38 is health. Misuse of health. Hmm. Hmm. Is this
That almost makes it seem like they took a level of exhaustion.
see I went and maybe this is my brain going too far. Um because he works for the treasury, I was like I was going in the direction of something to do with like a health department.
I have to ask one more question.
Yeah, okay.
How old is he?
50 even. Is he dead?
No. So
Mhm.
I asked, is the gambler the one who hired the team? And I rolled a 60.
Which is a no.
And then I asked, is it one of the gambler's family members
Mm.
that hired the team?
Oh, you're not talking about the team of archaeologists.
No. And I
Gotcha.
rolled a 44.
So go ahead and roll that beautiful bean footage again. See, and this is I think why I overroll, because I love random events and how they move the story.
So that's a 24.
24 is NPC action. Now, let me double
Mm-hmm.
check this. I want to make sure that I've got this correct. Let me see here. I need to be on 193. There we go.
Ooh.
That was 1, 2, 3. So this is NPC action, and so roll a d8.
I will, but I'll tell you, this is the gambler's grandmother. So I rolled a
Oh,
21. So a
interesting.
D8.
Yes.
Which fits perfectly because I wanted my BBEG to be a woman, so that is a
Perfect.
1.
It's the gambler. So then go ahead and roll twice for the action. This is the NPC action.
70 and 0.
Okay, so that's 80. Okay.
And 39.
Uh, Interesting. That is reward hindrance. But remember when we rolled hindrance before? I think the
Mm-hmm.
gambler. So, do you want to roll for him, or do you want me to roll this question?
You roll whatever questions in your brain.
It's a night of 44s. I rolled a 44. I asked if the gambler followed the messenger and Goodwin. Because what I was thinking is when we rolled hindrance before, the random event was that like one of the guards tried to stop the messenger and the messenger just held up his thing. So when you rolled reward hindrance, my thought was it's the same. The hindrance, it's the same guard. The gambler rewarded him. The gambler bribed the guard to tell him that they had gotten there or to give him some information. And
Mm-hmm.
when I rolled to see if the gambler had followed them, I rolled a 44. So now I get it. But now we don't know specifically what he bribed the guard for. I rolled a 70 for my random event, which is close a thread. Well, we've only got 2 threads. So I'm going to roll a d4. Roll. These don't roll. They fall.
Best to put them in the cup
Yeah.
and just blah, blah, blah. Yep. I know I hate rolling D.
And I rolled a 1, which is track the gambler. And this is going to close that thread. So, what is the action that is going to
It
close
disappears into the shadows.
this thread? Yeah, this is intriguing already. That's a 52. And a 45. Oh shit.
Gimme! Gimme, gimme, gimme!
52 and 45, I shit you the fuck not, is imprison individual.
Does he get imprisoned for bribing a guard?
Does the gambler get arrested by this guard? He attempts to reward him. And he's also fucking drunk. So he attempts
Maybe
to
he does. He rewards him, the guard takes the money and is like, thanks, you're under arrest for bribing a guard.
Did the gambler just get arrested for bribing a guard? 75, he did. Now, okay.
See, and
So the thing is, if we had said that was likely or very likely, that changes the odds. We increased the odds, or we increased the chaos factor.
we did.
We
And I
increased.
just rolled a 22 for that question.
Oh shit. Well, okay. So on a 50-50, it's 65. So if we had said it was likely, 75 is a yes. You rolled a 22. So go ahead and roll your your random event focus.
30.
All right. So 30 is NPC action.
And 36.
You only roll once for event focus.
Or that's right. That's right.
But this is NPC action. Now, okay, so I have to actually add in the castle guard as an NPC, which ironically doesn't. You rolled a 1 on the NPC, so it doesn't even change the outcome of that roll. So NPC action. So roll a d10, and this will tell us which NPC commits this action.
4.
1, 2, 3. That's the messenger. So go ahead and roll twice for that action.
52.
Okay.
And 4.
Oh. We said the wait a fucking second. $41. You rolled imprison again. But a 4 is animal. You rolled imprison animal. But what did we say that the gambler was?
An Urakokra. Yeah.
So did the messenger Hetch essentially they were coming out as this drunken gambler was trying to bribe the guard for information. Did the messenger catch and arrest? Like, I would assume this guy has the authority to do that, or at least like citizen's arrest, whatever. Did the messenger arrest the gambler? 19. That's why I rolled a 75. So when you asked if he
And I
got
asked if they
arrested,
arrest him with the help of the guard, and I rolled a 19.
yeah. See, I asked if the guard arrested him and rolled a 75. Did you ask if he got arrested?
No, I asked if the guard helped the messenger arrest the guy because the
No.
guard saw him.
But when you rolled a 22 for, was that
Oh,
just
if he
got arrested?
if he arrested him, yeah.
So that thread is now closed. That's amazing.
Ah, dumb schmuck.
It's amazing. And see, this is once again, the story is like that whole thing was irrelevant. That was our starting point. And the story was like, we're literally just going to take that off the board.
And now you
So
can put down that our BBEG is an Aarakocra.
that is true.
Because I rolled. I said, is she an Aarakocra? Because, species,
Mhm.
interspecies things can happen. And I rolled a 23.
Cool. BBEG is an Aarakocra.
How old can Aarakocra get?
That depends on which source book you're going for. Let's see. I want to say it's like in the 100, 120 range.
I can 280, but some suggest it's 100 years. I like the older lifespan, especially if she's some crafty old bird. She's got
Well,
shit that's gonna extend her lifespan.
I'm gonna ask something about her to see. Ooh, but it is a chaos factor 6. So a 65 or lower is a yes. She's a druid.
Mhm. That makes sense. Is she a
Is
moon
she a
druid?
is she a moon druid? You want to roll that one?
No, you roll it. I'm asking other questions at the moment.
28. She is a moon druid.
And she is in her 80s.
Now here's the
Because
other
I
question.
rolled a 12
Yeah,
for
you
that
did.
question.
Given that, I'm gonna say that this question is actually likely. I'm gonna say likely. That'll give it a that gives it a 75% chance. Oh, no, it doesn't fucking matter. I just roll a 7. She is a 20th level moon druid. And the reason that I asked about whether she was a druid is because at 20th level, you are effectively not immortal, but just about ageless. So
Well,
she's
that changes my questioning then. So
okay.
hold on.
I mean, do you want to roll for it? Do you want to roll for that? So this makes her an arch druid.
Okay. I take that back because I asked, I was going the other direction. I reevaluated my question because of the new information.
Mhm.
She is not in her 80s. She is in her 300s.
Oh, 380s?
No.
So, wait. Oh, okay, this might explain why. At 18th level, the primal magic that you wield causes you to age more slowly. For every 10 years that pass, your body ages only 1 year. So if she's in her
Mhm.
300s, now she wouldn't have made it to 18th level until a certain point. So she might look like she's in her 80s. But that would put her like if she had lived her whole life that way, that would put her at 800. She obviously wasn't an 18th level druid till much later.
Her name is Lajlai.
Let me jot that down. How do you spell that?
Lazuli. Looks like Lazuli.
Lazuli.
Lajolai.
I
And she has beautiful blue plumage.
Damn right. Is it turquoise?
Just look up Lajolai bunting real quick.
Oh, okay. Is that her name?
No. Not her
Are
full
you
name.
sure?
I'm not going to be that on the nose.
Ah, come on. Gotcha. Yep. Come on, Wikipedia. Okay. Yep. I dig
They're
it.
very pretty birds.
Great. All right. So, um, so
Ooh,
essentially, we're leaving the castle. We're leaving through that same exit, and
I
we
want to do one
see.
thing real quick before we do that.
Okay. Yep. Good.
I just want to roll her character stuff real quick.
Which character? Oh, like her motivation and
Lajolai.
and her personality and whatnot.
Her personality and just, who she is.
So
We don't have to
generally,
go super in depth into it, but
I said generally when I do that, I roll background, identity, and motivation. If you want to put personality in there too, that would be those four. Um, which one do you want to roll
well, I know what
first?
her motivation is already.
Do you?
I do.
Oh, okay.
So let's do background first.
Okay. So go ahead and roll twice.
81
Okay.
and 70.
And 70. Saved outsider. So that means that would imply to me she is an outsider to her community and she was saved by her community. So she probably did not grow up in an Aarakocra community.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a 70. She did not grow up in an
Okay.
Aarakocra community.
So then, what was the next thing? Her
Uh,
personality?
yeah, if you want to do that
Or
one next,
identity?
whichever one you want
Personality,
to do.
identity. I feel like they're just the same thing.
But I mean, they have two different lists. So
Oh, do they? Okay.
yeah.
Then let's do identity.
Okay.
So 61
All right.
and 100.
Messenger and warrior.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Personality,
Mhm.
94 and 41.
She is tolerant and foolish.
Yep. That tracks
Okay.
for what I have in my mind. And I will roll to see what her motivation is.
Okay.
53
Mm-hmm.
and 90. Wait, 39. I read that
39.
backwards.
Uh, jealousy and help. Which honestly, that is a great villain motivation. And that's the really nice thing about the words on the motivation chart is if you have a specific motivation in mind, this is kind of just giving you what's underneath of that, like why that is their motivation. So jealousy and
Yeah.
help is a really interesting, like that's basically what Thanos's motivations were. He thought he was helping the universe. I don't know that there was so much
Yep.
jealousy there, but like, yeah,
I mean, I feel
that's
like there was probably jealousy over those who had more
mm-hmm.
than he did.
Yeah.
But yes. Okay. I don't want to go any further into it. I just wanted to roll those just to like have that
Okay.
and we can revisit it.
Sounds good. So, um, well, so we ultimately finished the scene in the library. That would have been
Yes,
the
and I have
end.
an answer for something we had gotten off track from that scene
Oh, okay. What
because
was
you
it?
asked how far the messenger teleported, right?
Mm,
That dig site is 500 miles or more away.
nice. Hell yeah. Cool. So I don't know that we necessarily have to lay this out because we essentially got the next scene from the random events by accident. Um, but
Hmm.
the library scene ended when we left. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and now I guess the question is, were we going immediately or were we going to like provision ourselves first and then leave? Another 44?
It was a 50. When you come out of the castle, you see the gambler being arrested by a guard.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't ask why he's being arrested, but you just kind of lean over to the guard and go, by the way, he's embezzling from the treasury. And just like fucking walk away.
Yep, that sounds right. That
And the
sounds right.
guard like looks at probably looks at your dad or whoever else is standing there, and they're just like, he's not lying.
Honestly, take him into the dungeon. Tell him that if he works with us, we'll commute his sentence, and yeah, it's fine. Everything's
But yeah, because I literally wrote, "Do you tell the guard that this guy was
fine.
being investigated for embezzling money?" And I rolled a 50.
Yeah,
So
amazing. So essentially, then those random events are just they're part of that scene because they emerged out of it. So they were the
hmm
extension of it. So I guess the question is, um, so we were in control. So by your reckoning, the chaos factor is going to go up to 7.
yeah.
Um, we've now I got to mark these. We've closed the thread on tracking the gambler, and we've removed the gambler
I
from the.
imagine you're like getting out of your conversation, you're walking through the halls of the castle, and you see
Mm,
this guy, and he's like cussing and like pulling against the guard, and you're like not really sure. You're like, I didn't say anything to get him arrested, but you know what? I mean, while he's here, and you just
mhm.
stop the guard and just lean over and whisper in his ear, and you're like, okay, just keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. So my thread is my thread was track the guard. The whole thing with them, whatever they were, whatever the people who had me track him intend to do, that's not my thread by the dice because the dice have said this my thread is closed. So essentially I've done what I'm gonna do, and he's off our
hmm
threads and he's off our NPC list. I'm going to move those down here further so that the one thread that we have and the 4 NPCs that we still have are now bumped up into the top spots. Uh, so the question is, um, I would assume we're not going immediately. Like I would assume we're at least going to like provision ourselves first. Well, this was hastily. This was something that needed to be taken care of immediately, and there are provisions at the site.
That's a 6. Okay. Um, son of a fucking bitch. Sorry,
Oh
chipped another one of my dice.
no. Hmm.
These are my opalite ones too.
No, see, you got to put them up. They are now trinkets.
Yeah, I just have to stop rolling them together. It's because I'm rolling 2 at a time. I'm rolling them together, so they're clinking off of each other.
Ah, gotcha. Yeah.
Um, so, uh, the, um, the sovereign actually
Mm,
has had, um, provisions prepared. They're pretty much like,
mm,
here's your backpack.
yeah, yeah.
Sayonara, bitch.
That's where the messenger went when he left the room. He went to literally like went to not an armory, but like a storage closet. Like he went to where the provisions were being prepared, and
mhm.
then they told me as I was leaving, they're like, he's going to take you there. Go meet him down at this place, and your provisions are there. So, yeah, we're walking out the castle. So, are we heading to a teleportation location? Or, okay. So, chaos factor 7. So would you like to roll the d10? You are testing the expected scene.
9.
It happens as if you had rolled a 7 or lower, so you had a 70% chance of an altered scene, an altered or interrupt scene. It happens exactly as expected. We get to, I imagine, and this is probably Matt Mercer's fault. I imagine there's a building, and
Yes, sir.
yeah, I imagine it's a build. Like I'm imagining actually like the Monticello building in Washington D.C. Like it's a circular building, and you go inside,
Mm-hmm.
and it has a whole bunch of I can't remember what he called it in the first season of Critical Role, but it's a rotunda with a whole bunch of teleportation links. Um, and those are the ones that are established. Like there's a teleportation circle in there that is set that goes to the hierotech, but there are also spots in there where you can go in and inscribe your own if you have a sigil.
Mm-hmm.
So it's essentially just an open stall, like, and there's a bunch of them. Um,
I'd imagine they probably also have people who can just cast teleportation. They probably go
hmm.
out in teams of 2, so like one casts it one way and then casts the
Well,
other way back, kind of thing.
do you want me to roll this or do you want to roll this? I have a question for essentially.
You roll it.
Okay. God, if we're at a CR, yeah, I'm going to go with 6, not CR. I'm going to go with the chaos factor of 6 for the lance scene because this would have happened around then. Oh, shit. No, we don't go to. Maybe I don't know if we go. So here's a question. Do we even go to that building? Okay. So, they gave the messenger a helm of teleportation. I rolled a 3 on that. So an extreme yes. They may have even given uh Goodwin one. But we still did go to the rotunda because I rolled a 22. So,
Okay.
what is my
You go
event
there to
focus?
receive your helm.
Maybe that's it. Yep. So that's a 43 for the event focus. 43 is NPC negative. So do you want to roll? Roll it, or do you want me to roll?
I'll roll for that.
Okay, so that's a D8 now.
6.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the sovereign. So, uh, go ahead and roll the D100 twice. This is the action that is negative for the sovereign.
45 and 97.
And, oh, flee weapon. Is there an assassination attempt? Do you want me to roll for that, or do you want to roll for that?
You roll for yours. I have a thought.
Okay. Now this is chaos factor 7, which let me make sure I'm cool here.
So what numbers are a yes then in that?
Uh, on a 50-50, 75 or less is a
What was
yes.
it?
75 or less is a yes.
Okay.
What'd you roll? And what was your question?
My question was, does the Aarakocra break free of the guard trying to arrest him and try to attack the sovereign?
And what'd you
And I rolled
roll?
a 68.
So that's a yes. I rolled, is there an assassination attempt on the sovereign? And I rolled a 33. So, uh, 38. I rolled a 29, which is NPC action. Do you want me to roll or do you want to roll on that?
You roll because this is your line of this is your
Okay.
thread.
Well, see now this is interesting though because the gambler's back in play. So where do I put him? His thread is closed. See, okay, so if I hadn't removed him, a 6 would have been the guard. But you rolled
I
and
mean, I'd say put him back in.
I'll put since he was arrested, I'll put him at the bottom now. Um,
Mhm.
because both of our rolls indicating that the sovereign was attacked were yeses. Um, so this is NPC action. Oh my god, I have a very strong notion of what's going to happen here. So who is the NPC that's committing this action? Oh, I rolled a 9. That's the gambler on this list.
Which is what I just said was he's the one that
Well, see, I thought the NPC action was going to be the guard. Um, okay. So what is the action? What is this gambler's action? 89 and suppress fear.
Nope, you first.
Well, I rolled suppress fear. So my first instinct is that I mean he's drunk and he's suppressing his own fear in order to do this. So
He sees an opportunity and he's like, they gotta take it.
if he's trying to assassinate, if he's making an assassination attempt on the sovereign. Now this said she flees weapon, so she's attempting to flee and probably with a lot of fucking support. Um, but if he's suppressing fear, it makes me think he's doing this for other reasons. That it's not necessarily he wants to do this. It's essentially that he's been blackmailed into doing it. And he's suppressing his fear for himself because he knows if he doesn't do this, other bad things will happen.
Or he's been trained that if he's ever given this opportunity, he
Mm,
takes it. Cause grandmama is a druid.
mhm.
She has things up her sleeve.
Well, I rolled a 30, asking if he was being blackmailed.
I dig it. I mean, he could be being blackmailed by his grandma. Like,
I mean, that's true. Well, I was going to say, yeah, I mean, he could be being blackmailed by anybody. He could be being blackmailed by the people he's embezzling money for. It's the kind of idea like where he got involved with the wrong thing,
ask
and
us if
then
he's embezzling money for his grandmama.
is the Aarakocra gambler treasurer embezzling money for his grandmother. 14, he sure as fuck is
Yep, and he sure as fuck is dying.
right now.
Oh
Well,
yeah, I asked does he get killed
mm,
in his attempt to kill the sovereign? And
mm.
I rolled a fucking 5.
Oh yeah, so yeah, that's that an exception.
Grandmama's not going to be happy, but grandmama is also a druid, and I'm sure
Mhm.
probably has insurance.
Almost certainly.
She's got some of his
Uh,
pin feathers, it's fine.
yeah. Uh, so yeah, on a 5, on an exceptional yes, I don't even think like any resolution rolls need to be made. Like the did the guard did the guard he tried to bribe? Because I assume the guard he tried to bribe was delivering him. Did the guard
Mm-hmm.
that he tried to bribe end up being the one to kill the gambler? 69. Nice. But on Chaos Factor 7, 69 is a yes on a 50
Mm-hmm.
50 because 75% or less. So the
Yep.
guard. So now I can take the gambler off the list.
Yep.
And that
He's
thread
dead, Jim.
that thread is all the way fucking closed. That thread is as closed as what?
Is it?
That thread, the track the gambler thread is the figure out the reason that he was being tracked. That's not closed. Well, all right then.
Um, I asked, is Grandmama even going to try to resurrect him or revivify him? It was a 20.
Yeah.
I read it as 100 at first, and I was like, oh no, because I rolled a 10
Uh,
and a 0. I was
that's
like,
funny.
fuck. And I was like, wait, no, that's a 20. Never mind.
So, I mean, I think it's already likely. And what's the? I don't even think it's worth. It's worth rolling, but it's an 85% chance. Were they sent to the rotunda to get their helms of teleportation? 59. Yes, they were. So that is why they still were going to the rotunda and had no fucking clue that the fucking sovereign just fled a fucking did now here's the question, and it really doesn't matter to the story. I mean, it kind of does. Did the sovereign get injured in this attempt? 87. She did not. The guard protected her.
Oops. Someone did get injured though. I rolled a 67. Asked, did anyone get injured in this attack?
Mm,
Like other than obviously
I would
Dickface.
I would
Um,
think I would think it's the guard because I think he got into melee. And honestly,
that's an 80. 90. That's a 90.
mm, if it was a guard, was it dead?
Uh, I just rolled a 000.
By my reckoning, that's a 10. By everyone else's reckoning, it's 100. So what I usually do is if I roll,
Is roll again?
well, I ask the dice. I say, please confirm with a clearer answer, and I ask the question again.
72. So yes, it was his dad.
His dad got injured, but not terribly injured because again, degrees of yes. A 75 or less. So a 72 is just slightly within range. So he got, probably got stabbed.
Yeah. It was
So,
life threatening, but it didn't kill him.
so what ended
I
up
rolled a
happening?
45 if it was life threatening.
So what I imagine that ended up happening was the guard is, taking this fucking drunk asshole trying to get him to the dungeons or the cells, the cell blocks, and just happens to cross paths with the sovereign and the head of the hierotech. It was an assassination attempt on the sovereign because I did roll that. Um,
Hmm.
but the way that drunks can turn their bodies to fucking water, this fucking drunk gets out of the guard's grip, goes after the sovereign. Dad, without thinking, interposes himself and gets stabbed. And in that moment, because the drunk doesn't know what the fuck's going on because he just missed, there's a body in his way, is kind of discombobulated for a second, and the guard just comes up behind him and finishes the job.
Yep.
All right. Well,
Okay.
that's a hell of a scene to happen and not be involved in.
Right?
So, and to have not rolled an interrupt scene too. That's amazing. So yes, Goodwin and unnamed messenger. Do you have a potential name? Do we know that this is a man,
Nope.
or have we just assumed?
Messenger's a woman. That was a 55.
Nice. So, and I would say we're on. Wait, what was the question? How did you phrase the question?
Is the messenger a woman?
So it depends on how you want to interpret it, because we met the messenger when the chaos factor was 5. The chaos factor is currently 7. A 55 on a 5 is no. A
Mm.
55 now is yes. So it depends on how you want to. I will separately roll. Is the see the it depends on how I word it.
Ah,
Go ahead.
the messenger is a trans man.
There we go. Okay, but you rolled a 55. So go ahead.
88.
88 is AC pos. No, I'm sorry. 88 is current context. So go ahead and roll D100 twice.
93.
Okay. Ooh.
And 49.
Uh, Trap interior. Do we get trapped in the rotunda? This is current
Oh,
context.
probably because everything gets shut. Everything gets fucking locked down because of the assassination attempt.
That makes absolute sense. This is the D&D magical world version of closing the bridges on Long Island. That
Mhm.
the movie with Chadwick Boseman, 21
It's a
Bridges.
train station. It's an airport. Everything gets
It's
shut down.
the rotunda has an anti-magic field activator inside of it. And so if something happens like this, if there's an attempt on the sovereign, any teleportation area in the city has an anti-magic button that literally shuts off the ability to teleport. So we're in
Yep.
so we have
Perfect.
no fucking idea. Now, I would the messenger honestly, they both would know. They would both know something serious happened. Like they wouldn't be freaked out. Other people might be. But
I
Goodwin
mean,
and
they'd be freaked out in the way that, like, what the fuck just happened? Because they
yeah.
know something serious just happened.
I'm gonna see now because the chaos factor 7. The higher the chaos factor goes, the more likely yes answers are. Um, does Goodwin have the sending spell? I don't think he does. He's a fighter. Does the messenger have the sending spell? Do you want to roll that?
53.
So the messenger does have the sending spell. So presumably the messenger Goodwin's like fuck, 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 and the messenger's like hang the fuck on and cast sending to like the head of security in the castle. Gets the lowdown. Is like it's that scene from the beginning of or it's that scene in Captain America: Brave New World. Gets the lowdown and is like, no, the sovereign is in a secure location. She's okay. Um, the
Your
head of the
dad, though.
no,
No.
because
I know, I know.
the messenger knows that. So probably the head of security's like the head of the higher tech got stabbed. It was a little bad there for a minute. We got him healed up. He's all right. And the messenger's like, I don't know. The messenger doesn't know that, does he? That they're
No, so the messenger would just be like, Sovereign was attacked. It looks like the head of the higher tech was injured, but it is okay. And we're just fuck, fuck, fuck.
well. So here's the question: Is
Like the
Goodwin?
messenger doesn't realize the news that they're just casually, nonchalantly telling Goodwin.
Yeah, but here's the: Is Goodwin actually like worried when he hears that? 56. Okay, he is. I kind of thought maybe he wasn't, but I think he's probably got that like external. It's the Reacher thing. He's like, I don't show it because like in a crisis, panicking is not beneficial. But
Yeah,
he
and he also has
absolutely
been
has an
told he's okay.
right. Yeah. So he's worried, but not well. So here's the thing. I love it. He's worried about the larger ramifications of an assassination attempt. Specifically, he probably would have already put together that it was the gambler, and the fact that he was tracking the gambler and then like left, but I rolled an 11. So my focus is 90, which is current context. My action is 67. Oh, Jesus. And 23. Huh. 67 and 23 is overthrow elements. So this is something that's happening now. Well, does some sort of freak weather hit the city? 87, it's not freak weather. Overthrow elements. We can skip. That's always an option.
I'd say skip it for now.
But I do like the idea of sort of keeping it in the like that this is a thing that nebulously could have happened or is happening and is just not understood at the moment. All right, well, so I guess we have our helms, but they're just not working. So we're essentially now waiting. We're waiting for the teleportation network to come back up, and we're sitting on the phone with Verizon, and we're like, they're like, your wait time is 4 hours and 26 minutes, and we're like, okay, great, thanks, that's fantastic. Does it take more than an hour for the lockdown to end? 6, extreme yes. It takes more than an hour. Does the lockdown? Did this start in the middle of the day, lunchtime-ish, or was this dinner time-ish? I guess we can roll that.
This was lunchtime-ish. I rolled a 2.
Okay. So, does the lockdown remain in effect until the next morning? 49. The lockdown remains in effect until the next morning. So, now
You are allowed to go see your dad, though. I just rolled a 68.
there we go. Well, I mean, it's a lockdown. Like, honestly, the helms of teleportation probably don't work right now either. Like in a magical way, I would think not. So basically, I'm asking,
Yeah.
would the helms of teleportation work anywhere? 34. Apparently, they would, but we're gonna go check on Dad. Are we gonna go check on Dad? I was told he was okay, and I was told this job needs to be done post haste.
Yeah, but you can't leave the city. Like they can't. You'd
Well,
have to.
here's
You'd
the
have to
thing.
like ride outside the city limits.
Here's the thing about Goodwin. You hire Goodwin to do things quietly and quickly. I feel like Goodwin's the type of guy who's like, "Oh, there's a lockdown. Cool, we're gonna sneak out of here."
Well, I feel like you guys. I don't feel like you guys would need to sneak though. I mean, you're being sent on a thing by the sovereign. So if you just like go back and find like the head of the guard or whatever, like you have pretty much like her challenge coin. It's a coin that only she can give out to people, and it is a Pasco
Well,
card.
When I asked if the helms will work anywhere, I rolled a 34. Will the helms work outside of the rotunda? Essentially, like, can we go out on the street and use them? 93. No. Extreme. I think it's an extreme no too.
What you'd have to do is you're probably going to have to ride out of the city. Probably gonna have to get horses, ride out of the city, out of the magical field that would allow anybody to teleport. Or yeah.
Yeah.
and then you can probably do it. So I would imagine it'd probably be you, a guard, and the messenger
Mm,
ride outside the field, and then the guard just takes the horses back and leaves you there, and you guys fucking bamf.
I mean, we can bamf with the horses. We can take the horses with us. Teleport the helms of teleportation work with up to 8 people per helm.
But
So
would horses be considered people?
I think it's creatures.
Do they have to be willing?
Let's see here. Helm of teleportation. 5e. The helm has 3 charges. While wearing it, you can use an action to expend 1 charge to cast teleport from it. The helm regains 1d3 expended charges daily at dawn. The teleport spell reads, this spell instantly transports you and up to 8 willing creatures of your choice that you can see within range, or a single object you can see within range, to a destination you select. If you target an object, it must be able to fit in blah, blah, blah. The destination you choose must be known to you, and it must be on the same plane of existence as you. Your familiarity with the destination determines whether you arrive there successfully. So there is a chance that this could even go sideways. So the question then is, if we want to take the horses, I love the idea as a DM that you would actually have to ask. I mean,
You pulled this out of my brain.
yeah, you would either have to get a druid to cast Speak with Animals, or somebody to cast Speak with Animals, or let the dice decide if the horse is willing or not. I do love the idea, though. Hang on. Does
I
the
love the idea of a horse being like, "Oh yeah, I'm willing," and then the moment it happens, the horse is like, "Ha, psych, bitch."
fuck you? For funsies, because I think it is hilarious, the guard who is sent with us. So, okay, so this is the scene at the rotunda then would have ended. Um and then we're going to the stables to get horses. We were not fucking in control. So the chaos factor now would go down to 6. So go ahead and roll the d10.
Okay. Sorry, just had someone, one of my friends message me letting me know that she just finished a baby blanket that she's donating to my event. So,
Perfect. That's awesome.
5.
5. So it is an altered scene. Let's see how it is altered. That's the journal. That's not no fate chart, net fate chart modifiers. No random event focus table. Choosing the event focus. We already did that. I need the table for test the expected scene. Oh, here we go. Testing the expected scene. Okay, so rolling under. You rolled a 5, right?
Yep.
Okay, so that is an altered scene, not an interrupt scene. So there are a couple ways to do it. Either we can choose, or as always, there is a table, scene adjustment table. Do you want to roll on the scene adjustment table?
Sure.
And let the dice decide how it's going. So we're heading to the stables. The way the scene would play out is Goodwin and the messenger are going to get to the stables. This is how you're going to roll to see how that scene is altered.
45.
I'm sorry, it was a D10. That's my fault.
Oh, I take that back. 1.
1. Remove a character. There's only one character. This
The
well,
messenger.
there's the messenger. Um yeah, I mean, that's the only way to read this, because you're adjusting the expected scene. The expected scene, the only 2 characters
Oh,
involved. Well, no, yeah, I was going to say the expected scene would have involved the guard also, but
a guard, not the guard. It would be
right,
just be a guard.
a guard.
Yeah.
But we haven't met that person yet. We haven't gotten there.
But that
So
was the plan, so I guess we could potentially just be like, this is just the two of them then.
well, so roll on the action table, and this is essentially we'll treat it like a random event and see
77.
77 and what else?
45.
77 and 45 is repair individual. Does the messenger leave to go tend to Goodwin's dad?
That would seem weird.
Uh let's see.
Huh.
Would you
I
roll?
rolled, does a random person get injured in the chaos of everything shutting down? And I rolled a
Mm-hmm.
65.
So I asked, does the messenger go to tend to Goodwin's father? And I rolled a 65. And at a chaos factor 6, 65 is a yes to both of those. Um, so
Hmm.
repair individual.
Maybe someone at the stables got hurt.
Well, it maybe it's someone at the rotunda, and it would make sense then the messenger's going to stay at the rotunda. Does someone get injured at the rotunda? Do you want to roll that? Or do you want me to?
Sure. Give me 1 second.
So you rolled a yes on. I see. I think it's probably unlikely that the messenger would have gone to Goodwin's father. So a 65 would actually be
Yeah.
a no on that.
I rolled a 38 for if
38.
it was someone at the rotunda.
So it was someone at the rotunda who got hurt, and the messenger stayed there with that person, um, and told Goodwin to go to the stable without him. Now, did did the messenger tell Goodwin that he would meet back up with that they would meet back up with him? 71. He didn't. They didn't. Or do you think it's likely that they would have?
I think it's likely they would have because they know where they're going.
Yeah. So you roll for that.
That's a 1.
They absolutely told Goodwin they would meet back up with them. Uh, presumably they told him where to. They're like, meet me at the eastern gate, whatever. Um,
Mhm.
get to well,
You go get the horses. I'm gonna get this person some help, and then I'll meet you there.
yeah, yeah. Oh, was the person who got hurt a kid? Wait, I can't look because I dropped one. We have our first drop dice. Was the
Ding.
was the person who got hurt a kid? 75, no. So was the person who got hurt elderly? 63 is a yes. Um, so Goodwin's going to the stables. Now, okay. So he's going to go to the so I'm going to go to I'll go to the stables. I'll meet you at the eastern gate. We need 2 horses. I'm 1 person. So, uh
I mean, you can lead a horse when you're on a horse.
well, I would suggest, or I would ask when I get there, if 2 people could ride out with me, so it'd be 3 horses. My friend's gonna meet me there, my associate's gonna meet me there, to take over one of the horses, and then you 2 can ride back on 1 horse together.
Sorry, that broke my brain. What?
It was a math word problem. If
That
3 of
broke my brain.
if 3 of us each ride a horse out to the eastern gate, that's 3 horses, 3 people. my associate is gonna meet me at the gate. The two of you will then ride one horse back here, and my associate will take the other
Oh,
horse, and then we'll have two horses. That may be overly complicated though. I may just be able to take two
you would
horses
not
by
need to do
myself.
that. You can lead a horse with another horse.
Okay.
My
No,
sweet, sweet summer non-Western
I want to
state
make
living child.
I want to make this complicated.
I know, but it really solidifies the facts that you don't understand country
So
living.
so here's the thing.
So what you do is you take the reins of one horse, and instead of having him up over the head, like you can grab on the saddle, you have it down this way, and you hook it to the horn on your saddle,
No, no.
and you just lead them.
Maybe I would. Is the hostler capable? Can the hostler? This is very likely. Can the hostler cast speak with animal? That's a 19. It doesn't matter. The hostler can cast speak with animals. So Goodwin describes this whole complex fucking scenario, and the hostler's just looking at him, like patting the neck of one horse, and there's another, this is all, but patting the neck of the one horse, and he listens to this whole thing, and he's nodding along, and he's like, yeah, 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 no, I get it, I get it, I get it. And then he just turns to the horse, and I love the idea. He has to say it in a language that both of them understand, because it's imperative that Goodwin hear him say to the horse, I'm going to send you and your sister out with this fella. You just tag along behind him. And the horse just kind of looks at the hostler and is like, mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then the hostler's like, my God, what are you doing? You're complicating everything. The horse is smarter than you right now.
Oh boy,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
adore you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's just
So
so funny. I was like, what are you getting at?
why,
That's part of the reason why I broke my brain, and I was like, why? What's the third person for?
Yep. Nope. Nope. But yeah, so the horse doesn't even have to be led. The horse is just going to follow, or, or
Yeah.
or run along next to, because apparently I'm getting a brother and a sister. um. So
Oh, that's hilarious.
Goodwin gets two horses, right? Does Goodwin get two horses and head out to the Eastern Gate? 22. He does. So what's our random event? 16. Six, but a 16 is a new NPC. Is it the
Is it the
horse?
horse? It's the horses. They're new NPCs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. Well, okay, so I'm gonna roll on character then. God, that's amazing. Characters. Okay.
Just so you know,
Mm,
I just rolled a 46 on whether or not the messenger can speak with animals.
yeah, I mean that would make sense. Um, so who are these new NPC characters? 59. Okay. And 9. Bold and loud. It's the horses. I'm actually gonna
Yep.
there's a creature description table. I want to see if it gives me something that just really solidifies this. Creature
They're
descriptions.
just whinnying and neighing at each other the whole time that you're riding to the Eastern Gate.
It's just
Get a
sibling.
load of this motherfucker.
I was
He
gonna
doesn't
say
even understand how we work.
sibling bickering, but no, yeah, they're fully mocking
Stupid
him.
city people.
They're fully mocking this city slicker. So what is the creature description? 42. That's interesting. And 1. Insect-like and aggressive. That's odd. I'm gonna roll on it again just to see if I get something completely different, or something that jives with that. 71 is shifting, and 68 is rooted. I'm not going to worry about this.
Hmm.
I'm just going to ask: are the horses the new NPC? 68.
That would be a yes though on the chaos factor,
No, because it went back down to
right?
6. So 65 would be a
Mm.
yes.
Is the new
Um,
NPC the guy that spoke to them?
Hostler.
The hustler, yeah.
Um, it's Did you roll a yes?
No, I rolled a 66.
Uh, well, that is a random event. So you roll that. I have a theory.
30.
30 is, hang on. 30 is NPC action. So this might give us a hint who this new NPC is. Actually, that does make a lot of sense. So yeah, roll twice more.
95 and 30 or 95 and 53.
So triumph location. Hmm. Triumph of location, triumph over location. Um 73. Nope.
Excuse me.
Wait a second. I'm gonna have to re-roll that. It was a 15 and 0, but I'm gonna re-roll it. Please confirm, is the new NPC that's a 76. Yeah, I rolled a 50 and a 0, which is a 60 for me. Let's see here. And the chaos factor's 6. I rolled a 76 the second time. Hmm. That's a 63, so that is a yes. Um, so initially I asked if the new NPC was a ttrpg, which are the insect aliens, and I got a no. But then I was thinking about shifting and rooted, and I wondered if it was a tree ant or an animated tree of some sort. And I got the no, but then I asked if it was a plant, like a living plant of some kind. Uh, that would give us, what do we got? And triumph over location, I don't know. I don't know what that would be.
I feel like we should just ignore this one.
We can also though, so we got to add the hostler. I'm going to add the two horses. um, for the NPC action, let's see here, 193, I think. Uh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Um, roll a d4.
2.
2. Okay, so now roll a d10.
7.
7. Huh. That is the Chancellor. That's Dad, who the triumph over location was Dad's um action.
Hmm.
So, I mean, the location right now is a fucking castle that's under lockdown. Like essentially, triumph over location to me implies that he confirms or helps to confirm that the castle is secure.
Mhm.
Okay, so horses are on the list. Here we go. So we're going out to the eastern gate. That was I liked it. I liked the hostler scene was actually short. Um, do you want to leave the chaos factor at 6, or do you want to put it up to 7 in terms of like how in control things were?
No, I think keep it where it is.
Keep it at 6. Okay. So,
Mm-hmm.
so roll the d10.
3.
3. That is an altered scene, and I think it is altered, not not an interrupt. 3. Yep, is an altered scene. So, roll the d10 and we'll see how it's altered. This is interesting though because now it is a PC and 2
3.
NPCs. 3. Uh, reduce or remove an activity. Well, the only activity he's got right now is heading across town. So he gets slowed down. That makes sense. He gets slowed down because of the chaos of the lockdown. So it takes him a little longer to get across town. And then Mhm. You're going to roll to see if he has a relevant encounter.
No, I was rolling to see if the messenger was waiting for him at the gate, but I rolled a 94.
Oh, okay.
Because if he got slowed down,
Mm-hmm.
theoretically the messenger could have made it to the eastern gate before he got there, the horses.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the case.
Does I'm going to ask you because I feel does Goodwin have a relevant or significant encounter that's worthy of a scene on his way to the Eastern Gate? 36, he does. So
Are
I'm
you
gonna.
fucking shitting me?
What'd you roll?
36.
For what?
That question.
Well, then
I
he
rolled it first, but I was
Mhm.
staying quiet. But I looked down and I was like, it would be really funny if you rolled a 36. And you said 36. I was like, what the fuck?
So
So I guess that's the roll.
yeah. So the exact same question.
Yes.
Okay. So do you want to roll for the focus, or do you want me to? I'm gonna roll. I want to actually do a focus on this one. Okay.
We'll both roll, but we'll
Eh,
take yours.
Well, yeah, we'll see if we roll the same thing again. What is the focus
Yeah.
of this uh, strange encounter? What'd you roll?
61.
61 is move away from a thread. I rolled 20. Well, I'm gonna please confirm that with a more clear roll. Well, that's a 65, which is also move away from a thread. There's only one thread. Uh, so, do you want to roll the action, or do you want me to? Do you want to roll one and I'll roll one? So
Can't make decisions right now.
you roll the first half.
2.
2. Okay. What is the second half of this action that's moving us away from the thread? Oh no. A company safety. So did somebody get injured out in the street that Goodwin is going to escort to safety? 46. I know why. I know why the messenger wasn't at the Eastern Gate. Does Goodwin accompany this person to the rotunda? 7. That's an exceptional yes. So Goodwin sees this injured person, gets them probably onto the back of the unencumbered horse, gets them to the rotunda where it's less chaotic, a little less chaotic, and of course the messenger's still there. That's why the messenger wasn't at the Eastern Gate yet. So Goodwin delivers this person to this little triage unit they've got going on now. It's a little less insane in there. And are they ready to leave? Go ahead.
What's the chaos factor for yes?
Currently at 6, I believe it's 65 or less. Yeah, on a 50-50, it's 65 or less. Yes.
I rolled a 51 for did Goodwin run someone over with his horse?
That fully tracks. That's why he stopped, because there's
They
plenty of
just
people.
ran out in the street in front of him and he couldn't stop the horse. The horse couldn't stop itself in time. It's just like
Mhm. Yeah.
body eats the person down onto the ground.
And he's like, this one was my fault. I actually have to take care of this. Damn it. Damn it. But it works out well because uh he gets into the rotunda and finds the messenger still there and is like,
Mm-hmm.
well, look, I mean, let's double check. Is the mess, and it's probably, I think it's likely, at least likely. So it's 75%. Is the messenger still at the rotunda when Goodwin delivers the person he hit? At 41, yes. So Goodwin delivers this fucking not paying attention ass pedestrian to the rotunda, gets the messenger, and is like, careful with these horses. They've been making fun of me the whole time.
Does he know that though?
No. Well, does Goodwin speak horse? It is, I'm gonna say I'm gonna say it's
I'm gonna say
impossible.
unlikely he doesn't understand
No.
how horses work.
I'm gonna say it's impossible, which means there's a 15% chance at Chaos Factor 6. Does Goodwin, if I roll a yes, I actually know what's going on. Does Goodwin speak horse? Well, I gotta phrase this right. Does Goodwin understand horse language? 73. He does not at all. Um, what I was gonna say, if I had rolled yes, was that it's like the random white women who go to the nail salon with the um, Asian workers, and they know the
Mm-hmm.
language, and so like if they're getting if the workers are busting their balls, they know it, but they don't let on.
Uh-huh.
Not the case here. So we've reunited, and I like that. I also like too the idea that like a move away from a thread doesn't have to be some massive like 6 session side quest diverting. It's just it was an extra half
Mm-hmm.
hour. Taking
Yeah.
the time to get across town, accidentally hit somebody, had to be in, but it dovetailed us back around. So uh we're heading out of town. We're getting the fuck out of town. Let's get the fuck out of town. Um Goodwin was not in control here. He fucking knocked somebody over. So we're going back down to
Yeah.
5. Uh So we've got now, we're leaving the rotunda. We are heading toward the eastern gate. Add a 5. Roll the d10.
2.
God damn it, stop it. That's
No.
okay. That's okay.
Make me.
I'm 95% sure that's an interrupt scene. Let me see here. 2 interrupt scene. Yes. So that's a random event essentially. So roll on the focus.
27.
27 is an NPC action. So go ahead and roll twice for the action. What? No, wait. First roll a d4.
2.
2 is that okay? Now roll a d10.
10.
10 is the hostler. uh, then roll for the action. So the d100 twice.
I lost my other die for a second. I was like, where the fuck did it go? It was just in my hand.
Mm,
88
okay.
and 62.
Support obscurity. I really have no idea what that means in this case. I mean, he's obscure. They're obscure. They're back at their hostlery. Um, Is there another known NPC involved in this interrupt scene? 18, there is. So roll the d10 again.
One.
That's the messenger. Because what I was thinking was that the hostlery was possibly attached to the castle, or this was like a military barrack, and
Mhm.
that support obscurity was this is where the sovereign gets hidden away so that her location is unknown.
Yeah.
Honestly, that makes the most sense. So the interrupt scene is that, and I think this is likely, is the Chancellor, is Goodwin's dad with the Sovereign. 39, yes. Even though he's injured, and they're probably like, you got to lay down. He's like, no. So,
I mean, he's presumably been healed. Like, the
right,
Sovereign has, like, the best healers available to her.
yeah.
He's just a little sore. That's all.
The guard is also with them. So it is the guard, the Chancellor, and the Sovereign um, get basically. I've wait a second. No, okay. Um, there's like I like the idea that the, um, there's a contingency. Um, that well, wait a second. Oh shit! Oh shit! I rolled a one. The hostler doesn't hide them. They go to the hostler, get three horses, and leave the city. And it ties in with flea where the sovereign rolled flea weapon.
Yep.
So the three
They're
of
going to a
them,
safe house.
yeah, are they? I'm going to say it's very likely they're going in a different direction than Goodwin and the Messenger. Are they going in a different direction? 56. Yes, they're going in a different direction. So there's now a thread. Um, hide the sovereign. Hide the sovereign, hide the sovereign, hide the sovereign from the city. Okay, so I love that interrupt scene. It's just this cutaway. We cut away from our main characters and we get back to the Chancellor and the Sovereign and this town guard, or not town guard, but like this castle guard. And I love the idea though, and this is fully how uh, I'm envisioning this scene. Is that this guard is more or less a nobody. This guard is not high level. This is not like Secret Service. This is like a beat cop. This is like
Mhm.
a patrolman who happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time and the right place at the right time, and is now at the right hand of the sovereign because he
Mhm.
happened to be the one. Love that idea.
Correct.
Uh, so
Got to get them out of the city. They're gonna
stop
bamf.
stop grabbing my ideas out of my skull. Yeah. So we're heading out of the city now.
No,
Goodwin and
never.
the Goodwin and the as yet unnamed messenger are heading for the Eastern Gate. We had our interrupt scene, so do you want to roll on the name for the messenger, or you just want to let something come to you?
I want to let something come to me.
Okay, I will. I'll put in here because we have the sovereign's name. Oh, wait, I need to do that. Is and it's the only we only have two of them right now. But we'll figure out the rest. So we've had the interrupt scene. So now our characters are heading for the Eastern Gate. Um, I don't necessarily know unless we were to roll a random event. I mean, they're essentially just heading out the Eastern Gate.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
I'd
say
say
it's
just let him go.
well. I was gonna say just to roll. I'm gonna ask. Do they encounter? And we're on chaos factor 5 right now, right? We dropped it back to a
Yes.
5. Okay. Um, I'm gonna say it's unlikely. Very unlikely or unlikely? You know what? I'm gonna split the difference and I'm gonna say 30% because unlikely is 35 and very unlikely is 25. So I'm gonna split the difference. There's a 30% chance something relevant happens. But yeah, do they have some relevant, significant encounter worthy of a scene? 50. Nope, they don't. So they make it to the Eastern Gates. They've got their horses. They've got their helms of teleportation. Uh,
Have the name.
you got the name. Very good. So as they're riding out, and they've got another 300 or 400 feet before they're going to be out of range of the lockdown and be able to use these helms of teleportation. Uh, Goodwin, as he's riding, turns to his messenger associate and is like, I just realized I never got your name. What can I call you?
You can call me Avor.
Avor. That's a good name. Let's ride. And that's where we're going to end this session.
AVOR.
AVOR.
Perfect. Hell yeah.
Amazing. And yeah, I mean, we'll absolutely continue this.
Hmm.
This is the prequel campaign.
Yep, this is the prequel that is going to set up all of the things for a future game that we're running for a friend.
Hmm.
This gives me
And
ideas of world backstory bullshit.
yeah, well, and the really interesting thing now, and this is what happened with Trevor, where he had his first season, and two of the NPCs who cropped up, one of them wound up becoming the main character the second season, and the other one became the main character the third season, and then an NPC who cropped up in the third season became the main character of the fourth season. So we had no idea, we had zero idea about this assassination attempt and about the chancellor, the sovereign, and this random guard fleeing the city, probably to a safe house. We don't even know that for certain. That's a whole separate storyline. So we'll follow
Hmm.
Goodwin. We'll complete his story, but it's worth finding out what happened to them because that's going to be relevant. Like,
Yeah,
like
100%.
like actually relevant because like we know where Goodwin's going to get his assignment, and I don't know that can necessarily happen yet. Although the messenger
Hmm.
we do know does have sending.
Hmm.
Do they know the sending spell, or did they have do did they have a spell scroll of sending? That's a one. So they had a spell scroll that they used.
Hell yeah.
All right. Well,
I dig it.
that's fantastic. We have begun yet another adventure. All right, let's see here. Let's see. Thanks for watching screen. All right, excellent. So oh, Jedi. Yeah, Jedi, we're still going. We're nerds, man. Um yeah, so we'll come back around whenever we feel like it. We ain't on a
Hmm.
schedule. It's
Well, I
literally
mean, we got to do it before we run the game for him, so
that is true. Yeah.
theoretically, we should do it fairly soon.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, whenever we feel like it, come back and continue the ongoing adventures of Goodwin, Avar, and the bickering sibling horses.
Correct.
Amazing. Until then, be good to each other.
Yes. Please.
Right? Please. There's enough bullshit going on.
Hmm.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye. Click.